Yes.
Hey guys, it's Jenny and Jordan Pyle out of Chicago. So Jordan, you sent me a message and you said, hey, can I pick your brain for 30 minutes on agent-to-agent referrals? And I said, well, yeah, of course, because you're awesome and I love you. And then I was like, well, let's just record this because maybe sometimes I say the same story over and over again. Let's just record it and share with others. That sound good?
For sure. Yeah, no, I'm glad we can because I have a lot of questions. I've been working to grow my agent-to-agent business. So I figured I'd go straight to the source of an expert that, from my understanding, has, over 30% or about 30% of the business that you do on an annual basis coming from agent referrals. So yeah, I'm in the process of systemizing this a little bit. So obviously I have a lot of questions. So should we give it a couple minutes or should we
let's see. How are things happening? I see us here on Facebook. There's some people watching on Facebook land and it's 11 o'clock. So let's just get to it. How about that?
Cool.
Yeah, so I shared with you guys already. Jordan had reached out to me to learn a little bit about agent referrals. So that's why we're here today. I'm a new backdrop. I'm at my little lake house at Grand Lake in Ketchum, Oklahoma. And so the greatest thing ever is that technology works here and I'm not in my house in Tulsa. So that's exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah. So Jordan, why don't you first off just share with everyone, they probably know who I am. Why don't you share who you are and how you've gotten into this business and all your superstar success over a short period of time, in my eyes.
Well, it's longer than a short period. We're starting to see the tip of the iceberg. But no, and I do want you to give, after I go, give a little intro for yourself too, just because there might be some people that this is shared with that do not know who Jennie Wolek is. So, but yeah, Jordan Pyle, I'm out of Chicago, Illinois. I'm actually downtown in the city in terms of servicing, clients. I'm in the city. I don't really venture too much to the suburbs, but obviously I have plenty of contacts there that we can put people in touch with. Been in the business, actually, this is year 7, which is crazy. So that's when you say it's short period of time. It's,
hey, I know, right?
Yeah, but I've been at KW with Keller Williams and Lincoln Park office here in Chicago since, August of 2017. So we're coming up on 3 years. Yeah, very fortunate to be able to build a business that's just now kind of scratching the surface. Did about 20, I think it was 26 units last year, sales, and then 36 total transactions for about 10 million in production. And then, yeah, like you just referenced, had the opportunity and very grateful to be nominated for the 30 under 30 for the National Association of Realtors this year. So now it's time to level up. And that's why we're on this call, to figure out how we can incorporate another pillar to my business, which is agent-to-agent referrals. So
awesome.
Thank you for having me on your page.
You bet. Well, where does most of your business come from currently?
Yeah, well, a lot of it is agent to agent without really putting any effort into it. So that's kind of what I mean by systematizing. But no, database, like my immediate sphere of influence here in Chicago. It's interesting too, because I'm not from Chicago. So 6 years ago, I started from scratch, which is kind of what's, focusing on building my database has been the overall goal since I started, just because I didn't have one in Chicago. So yeah, about 30% of my business, I would say, comes from there. I would say 30% or maybe about 25 is actually coming from agent to agent. And the other, I would say, is a combination of just some cold leads and then probably just my general online presence. So other people that see my stuff online that might be a friend of a friend, that they reach out and then they get added into my database. So really it's just database and agent to agent referrals right now.
Awesome. Well, we know that your business is your database is your business. And to me, agent referrals are simply just another form of database for me. So I've been very systematic. And like you're saying, you're looking to go from E to P, entrepreneurial to purposeful. These referrals have come your way probably because you have a very entrepreneurial spirit and you're kind and you're nice and you show up, because we know it's a contact sport. And that's how I started growing mine, was from showing up and meeting people. It's that simple. So I'll give a quick little bio if people don't know me. If you're a friend of Jordan's and just coming into our world, I'm Jennie Wolek. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, middle of America. And I have been in business for 19 years. And so back when I got into the business, we didn't have Facebook or these cool social channels where now it's a lot easier to connect with people. And it could be even more blurry too. Like maybe you're overwhelmed and overloaded with all the different places and things to do. So my system started very simple, back archaic, like, letters in the mail and phone calls. Wow. And over the years, just through showing up again, being involved and active and participating in trainings and events, that's how I started growing it. I can tell you the backstory if you like. We can go into that if that's important to you to hear it. But for now, I have a small team. I say we're small and mighty because I love how connected we are as a team. There's 6 of us total. I know my awesome lead agents, Brittany Winnery and Nate Erskog, and we have a new agent on the team, Mindy, that is rocking it already. She just finished her 90 days and already has some business going on. And then we have a great transaction coordinator and listing manager that keep us in line. And we're more connected right now than ever before. With this shutdown and stay at home, we're hopping on Zoom hangouts first thing in the morning. We're chatting about our gratitude and our goals for the day. Then we're hopping into lead gen together as a team from 9:30 to 10:30. And then we're reporting at the end of the day any successes or wins. So we're more connected than ever. We're going to keep some of this around for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. So give us an idea for anyone that doesn't know, what type of business are you doing?
Yeah. So
in terms of production.
Yeah. Last year we helped 145 families. And just every year over year, we increase that by, oh gosh, my internet unstable. There we go. Is that better? I'm back.
It's glitchy, but it's all good. The pros and cons of technology.
Well, it's lake life. I'm up at the lake with not great Wi-Fi.
Right.
So you just tell me if it's too bad. So we helped 145 families last year, and 50% of that comes from our database, 30% from you, awesome agent to agent referrals, and the rest are mostly other types of lead sources that, we pay whenever we close it. Because if you think about it and look at our numbers, they're all relationship and follow-up pieces of business mostly. We're not doing much prospecting to for sale by owners expireds. However, we're adding that in now.
Are you? Okay, that's interesting. Maybe we'll go into that at the end here. But yeah, for anyone that's, 145 transactions and 30% of that being agent-to-agent referrals, that's almost one a week, right? So that's not small pickings. That's a pretty lucrative agent-to-agent referral business, right? And I know when I first started growing mine, without really much intentionality, I wasn't putting a lot of time into it because I was like, well, why would I go there when I'm paying 25 to 30%, whatever the referral fee out is, when I could just get 100% from my own database. However, it's the same thing when you create these raving fans, not only in your database, but your database of agents. You have people and you have your army out there selling for you. So it took a while for me to come around to the idea of like, this is actually something I should be focusing on. So let's dive in. I want to understand, you said 50% is database, 30% is agent to agent referrals. But I'm assuming it wasn't always that, right? So 19 years in the business, when was it that the switch kind of went on in your head that was like, oh wow, this is actually something I should be spending my time on? Like, give me the mindset around that.
Yeah, so actually that can totally ties into the history of all this. So when I first got into real estate in 2001, I was in Norman, Oklahoma. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Norman happens to be a college town where the University of Oklahoma resides. And so I'd gone to school at OU and I stuck around Norman. I ended up living in Norman for 14 years after my undergrad and my master's degree. And then I became an adult in Norman by working in and getting into real estate. And so I'd been in real estate for about 3.5 years in Norman, and it was just time to move back home. I was, I think, about to turn 30 years old. And
a couple years ago.
Yeah. And I was ready to get back near all my family in Tulsa. So I put, at the time, the cool thing is that I had gotten into real estate with a great broker, and we were very small brokerage. There were 5 of us. And so I was really learning all the ins and outs of real estate early on: property management, mergers and acquisitions. We ended up merging and becoming a Century 21. And so I learned so much in a short period of time. And that's where the whole agent to agent thing the idea was peaked, because in order to, from Century 21 being a national franchise, they had lots of relocation. And in order to receive referrals as an agent, you had to give referrals. So they called them inbound and outbound. And so I, of course, liked receiving referrals, even though there was a 30-40% referral fee, because it just came to me and I didn't have to work for it. Because back then I did not know how to lead generate. I just, showed up at an open house and smiled, and real estate was a lot easier in 2001, 2, and 3 than we later saw with shifting markets. Right. And so I had to think about, and they made us create a database of people, friends and family, that lived in other cities. And we had to market to them and say, if you ever know of somebody that needs to buy or sell anywhere in the world, I can connect you. Yeah. So that was where I first learned it. And so I moved back home to Tulsa in 2004. And I was from Tulsa, but I hadn't lived there in 14 years. Very few friends were still around, or, it was just a whole new, like you, starting from scratch. And so I had to restart and build a database and a business. So my first thought was, well, all my Norman agent friends, it was a very small community, and everyone, regardless of company, we were all friends. And so I thought, well, I'll just send a letter with a business card. I'll send a stamp for sure. I'll send them a letter, and I will let them know that, hey, it's Jennie. I've moved to Tulsa. I'd still like to help you, because it's only an hour and a half, 2 hours away, Norman to Tulsa. Okay. And so, of course, it would make sense that people would move in between the two. And I would love to be your referral source here in Tulsa. And wouldn't you know it, they started calling me. This is like, we barely had email, early days of real estate, Jordan, we had these things called fax machines. And I actually literally had a pager. If you're watching and you had a pager, raise your hand, because that's awesome. Like, I'm a drug dealer or something. No, just dealing houses. And so I started getting referrals from my agent database in Norman, and that was awesome. And then, year after year started happening. Finally, I started attending Keller Williams events. So agents were always a piece of my database, and they had a tag. They were called out of town referrals, and they still are. And so inside of your database have, an easy way to define them and to pull them, because you want to purposefully market to them. And so just after attending Keller Williams events and trainings, then I had a system. Then you went into my system, started getting touches and reminders.
That's interesting, because Chicago's Chicago, right? It's a very transient city, in and out. A lot of people moving to and from for work or whatever the case may be. Tulsa, Oklahoma is a little bit different, right? So that's where my head goes, is like, how do you generate 50 referrals in and out of Oklahoma? Do you think you're receiving more, or are you giving more referrals?
Honestly, we're receiving a lot more than we are able to give back. And that's kind of a part of where things evolved over time, and we'll get to that. Yeah. And so, yeah.
I guess when you become the big fish in the small pond, so to speak, anything that comes into Oklahoma is typically going to you, right? So I have a little bit more competition with agent-wise here in Chicago. So,
well, and not to knock any local agents, because we're all great and we all love each other and we all get along. This was just my one thing. They maybe had other things. And so this became my focus. So I do choose to dominate because I'm purposeful about it. It's not that they're any, not as good of an agent. It's just they have other focuses.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. So let's go into then. You mentioned the system, right? It started with fax machines and letters. I know you have this whole thing planned out. Like I said, I'm involved with some things, right? I'm involved with KWYP. I'm the local association YPN chair, and now I have this whole new network, which has really got my attention to reaching out to you of like, okay, 30 under 30. Now I have 30 under 30, agents around the whole country that I'm now a part of this alumni group, right? So I really want to go in deep and start to build a system out so that I'm not recreating the wheel every time I have somebody that either reaches out or someone that I know that's moving to a market that I know I have a connection in. So talk to me through the evolution of where you started with your agent referrals to kind of how it looks today, and then some of the different ways that you're actually creating top of mind awareness for other agents in your world.
Yeah, I think it goes back to when I really was becoming more purposeful about it was actually by accident. I started using video in my business around 2013. If you go to our YouTube channel and you scroll back in time, you will see the most horrid, terrible videos ever. So embarrassing. And I kind of share it because I want you guys to see how bad I was, because I think that if you saw videos of me today, it looks like I got it all together and I'm this pro at shooting a video. And it's only because I've been doing it for so long. 2013, that's my math, 7 years, right? And so I started doing video, and what happened is that by mistake, my admin uploaded so we use a company called Viral Marketing. Viral, VYRAL. They help edit and produce my videos that I send out to my databases. So I had Viral helped with my local marketing blog. So I would shoot a video, they would edit it, it gets sent out to my database, and then a few days later, I get an email back, and it lists the people who clicked on my video. And so then you have a call list where you can follow up with them. Well, this was to my local database. Well, by mistake, my admin pulled our whole database and sent it off to Viral. So that meant that the next video that goes out that's very specific to Tulsa, Oklahoma, Jordan, you would get it in Chicago, and you're a real estate agent. Now, I know you guys may have agents that send you local market stats and you roll your eyes and you unsubscribe and you say, I never signed up for this video, because I do. Mm-hmm. And so I was horrified. I could not believe this, that you got my local video in Chicago. It made me sick. But then the next Keller Williams event, agents started coming up to me and they said, oh my gosh, you're Jennie. I love your videos. My team leader shares them with us, or I'm on your list, or I see them on Facebook or whatever. And it hit me as soon as I got back home. I call up my Viral rep and I say, you know how you do that blog for me for my local database? Could we do one for an agent database? And they were like, well, yeah. And because I was the first to think of that, they didn't even charge me for like a year. So that was super awesome. I got a free extra blog, but now they do. So don't think you can get away with it. But that was one of the pieces. Was I saw that agents enjoyed seeing me and how I was working in my business using video. And then the other little kicker, Jordan, came from 2015. I attended Bold 4 times in 1 year, and 3 of those were in Oklahoma City, which was outside of my market center. And so I realized that, well, what happens when you attend Bold and you're the only agent from Tulsa, Oklahoma in a room of 100 Oklahoma City agents? You get to be their agent.
Yep.
So just like your 30 under 30 crowd, that's what you're seeing is now I've got this whole new database. So what am I going to do to be purposeful about it? And then the next year I traveled to Joplin, Missouri and Fayetteville, Arkansas, taking Bold as well. And so those last 2, I remember thinking, I've got to really step it up this time because I do want to be purposeful. So at lunch breaks during Bold, I would go around, instead of taking care of business or even focusing on my lunch, I would go up to every table and meet people and trade cards and chit chat with them. And then, of course, those were the people that were getting added into my database. For me, the whole adding people in my database was really more one of purpose. Like if we met at an event, Jordan, family reunion, and I got your card, I'm really focusing on people that I have a conversation with.
Right.
Like it's more quality than quantity.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially early on,
yeah.
Right? So then I started realizing that I now have all these friends in other cities, and they were sending referrals to me. And I felt really guilty that I may not be able to return the favor in the form of a referral. So how can I return the favor? Well, that was by sharing all the systems, tools, and tricks and tips that we do in our business by way of video, And that's where I created a Facebook group, Facebook page, all that.
Interesting. So how long is, well, actually I see it here because I have it pulled up. So you created the group in August of 2017.
Yeah.
It took some years to get around to that idea of, okay, I might not be able to provide value in the form of referrals, but I could teach people or be a trainer or just do what I do and allow other people to see into it to make sure that they're building their business and ultimately making more money and, you know, doing more deals. So, okay. So then let's jump into the Facebook group, because I feel like that's kind of the bulk of, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's kind of the bulk. I see your stuff all the time. Like, I feel like I log on to Facebook and I'm like, oh, there she is again with another video. So your consistency is on point, right? And I think that's a huge thing, is you said continuing to show up and continuing to be intentional and be in front of people. I think a lot of people, you know, they just want to kind of be the, what do they call it? The agent that doesn't, like, has no social presence at all. I forget what they call the secret agent. Yeah, but you have to be in front of people, even though at times it can feel uncomfortable. So when you were creating this group, how did you determine, okay, here's how I'm going to stay focused, and this is the focus value that I'm going to actually be bringing to agents? Because there's a lot of different things that you can do, you know, in terms of building your business, but like, how did you ultimately come up with, like, okay, this is the plan and the structure of how I'm going to create the page, and then how I'm going to build the page, maintain the page, and then grow the page? So I want to kind of go through those 3 steps of starting it, or I guess 4 steps, or no, starting it, maintaining it, and then growing it.
Perfect. So that group, Your Journey with Jennie, is actually an afterthought. The first thought was a Facebook page. I renamed it recently. It was the original Your Journey with Jennie. It's called Real Estate in the Real World. And that was actually created first in 2016 when I had the idea. So there was a difference. There's a Facebook page and a Facebook group. And for those, I'm sure many of you are more savvy with these Facebook things than I am. I just learned that the downside of a page was that I didn't have any control. You could like it, you could like the page, and then you're always going to see my stuff. So there wasn't, and a page doesn't really get engagement
more passive.
Yeah, exactly. So the page is more of like, a billboard for people to see your stuff. And so I then created the group because the group could have more engagement, and it's private. People feel more comfortable sharing because it's closed off. And then, there's your community. Well, I was going to ditch the page altogether because my brain, I can't keep up with 2 things. I'm very simple and not very smart. So I was going to just ditch the page, and Frank Klesitz with Viral Marketing, he says, no. You need the page because you can run ads on the page. You can get, that's a way to, if you're going to sell products later on, if you're going to invite people to trainings, you need to have a public page for ads, etc. So that's why there's 2 that exist. My heart and my mind are always focused on Your Journey with Jennie. Like, that's my number 1 thought every morning is, what value am I going to add today? The page is more of, here's upcoming trainings and events, or here's it's
more promotional.
Yeah.
Like you said, a billboard for it. Okay.
Yeah. So what I actually have is, part of Your Journey with Jennie has many facets to it. So as I was preparing and planning for 2020, I actually buy like a calendar that's a monthly at a glance calendar, and I just map through it. Okay, every month I'm going to do at least 1 training where I interview another agent, or I'm going to do, and then every quarter I'm going to do an in-town training to add value to my in-town agent database. And then I'm going to do, so I built out what I wanted my year to look like. And then COVID hit. So all my training got, if I showed you my calendar, it's so funny. It's mark out. So that's why Gary Keller says, it says that you should write in pencil.
Yeah, true.
Scratching everything out because life changed. And it's even a part of like my original, my 411 even has that I'm going to grow Your Journey with Jennie to 3,000 members. Well, with all of this, I already surpassed that goal.
Right.
So now because, and so what I've discovered is the great thing about having a closed group is that that's where I post and share everything. So we just implemented and ran through the idea of having a flexible commission plan. And so I was sharing that with people. And then people see it on Facebook, or they see it in an email or whatever, and they say, hey, tell me more about this. Then I can just go tag them in that post and say, here it is. So the value of having a closed group where you share all of your systems, tools, and things that you use in your business is that it all lives in one place. And so it's so help me be more efficient,
Yeah.
right?
I
Because
struggle with that for sure. And that's
yeah,
why this is good. I want to continue going down this lane here.
yeah. So whenever people will Facebook message, text, email, whatever the source is that we're getting bombarded with questions all the time, that's why it's really simple. I point them there. I've been doing lots of webinars like I'm sure you have. And rather than saying my name or my phone number, I say, go join my group, because that's where everyone lives. And that's how I've been able to point
Oh,
everybody to that.
okay.
Right back.
Sorry,
Okay, there we
you
go.
checked out.
Yeah. And
You
that's
just
how
point people toward your.
yeah.
Yeah. So when people are like, how can we contact you or how can we get in touch? Your journey with Jennie.
Yeah.
Got it. So you talked about, and I hope you have it in front of you or maybe in your brain somewhere. You talked about like your actual frequency of posting and what that looks like. You talked about like monthly, you want to have a training for the general agent population.
Mm-hmm.
Monthly, you want to have an in-town training for your people in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or I'm assuming like the surrounding Oklahoma markets.
Yeah.
What else? Because you're posting more than twice a month on your page. Like, what else are you intentionally putting out there, and why?
So what I'm for sure always on my calendar is that because of viral marketing, the great thing about having some leverage is that they hold me to produce 2 videos a month. Okay. So I'm going to provide content that is agent related that you're going to care about. Like I just did one on virtual showings or how to work in this virtual world, that would add value to you as an agent. We just might need, so really you can always tell what I'm going through or learning about in my own business, right? Because my coach, Jordan Freed, is always pushing me to think differently and think more. So soon enough, you're going to see what our for sale by owner system is going to look like, because I'm working on that right now. So if you go to, so here's a couple places people could just go and get ideas. If you go to realestateintherealworld.com, that is the original agent to agent blog. So you can see all of the different content that I've shared over the years. I just pulled the numbers. It's crazy. On YouTube is where all of our videos live. And I've got over 91 agent interviews where I've interviewed other top agents across the world, the country. And then I've got 93 videos on the Your Journey with Jennie playlist. So if people, need ideas, just go steal anything that I've shared in the past, because that's how we operate, right?
So you're creating, real quick on that. So you're creating a video, right? So viral's like, hey, Jennie, you only got one video in this month. You need another one. So you're recording it. I'm sure it's time blocked somewhere in your schedule on a weekly or daily basis. And so you're posting it. So I'm assuming you're first off, you're putting it on YouTube. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You're saying that's kind of like your portal for all of your educational content. I think that's awesome too, because not only can you go reference it, not only can other agents look at it and the general population look at it, but you can also send any potential team members to it or anyone in your world that's like, hey, like if someone comes up to you and asks you like, how do you do this? It's like, well, I actually have a video where I interviewed this expert on it, so go check it out. So it's like you're checking all these different boxes in your business with just one video.
Exactly. That's exactly the answer. So new team members in their 30, 60, 90, that is part of their requirements, is to go watch videos. And then even some that are very important, they're specific, like here's especially in their 30 days, I've got one on how to grow your database through Facebook, through sending Facebook messages. And so whenever new agents come to our team, they're like, I don't have anybody else to call. Perfect. Here's a great exercise where you can go through your Facebook friends and message them, and here's how you do it. Go watch the video. Exactly. You got it.
I'm gonna have to go watch that one, because I think a lot of people think they're like, I don't have a cell phone number or an email. It's like, you got social media, you got DMs, just slide in, you know?
Yeah.
So
people respond to those, actually.
I actually respond more to, like, I'm better at responding to my DMs than I am responding to my text messages, which is terrible to say, but it's just the truth. So that's cool. So you're putting that out there. What are you seeing that, you know, what type of content, not only topics, but like, are you finding that people like very like scripted content, or more off the cuff, like more of a Facebook Live type of situation, where it's just more real and you're answering questions? What have you found has really, in terms of engagement, what has been the most successful there?
That's a great question. If you go through the YouTube channel, you'll see so many videos that I am actually in my car and I shoot a video. And the reason for that, Jordan, is that I know that I need to do a video and I hadn't gotten to it yet. And so I make myself do it before I would go into the office. I think I froze. Did I freeze? So I would just make myself,
A little bit.
I'd make myself shoot a video. So that's why a lot of my videos are just in my car, and it could be off the cuff. So I've seen people get great engagement off of very systemized videos too, like the LP Mama. Have you heard of the script LP Mama?
Yeah.
So that one on YouTube has a zillion views because it's tactical. It tells me how to call someone.
Right.
And then, you know, I'm a Keller Williams University instructor. And so I love teaching the 6 personal perspectives. So I did one on each perspective. Those get tons of views because on top of sharing them on all of these avenues we've already discussed, I also put all the videos on KW Connect. And so Keller Williams agents are able to search for, but if they go into Connect and they search for 6 personal perspectives, they're going to see all my videos. You
can just freely post there? That might be a secret that you might not want to share. I'm kidding. Okay, no, that's interesting. Yeah, because I'm the same as you. Like, I feel like there's something about my car that gives me this inspirational, like things come to me in my car more. Like if I'm like, hey, I need to sit down at my desk and do a video, it takes me forever. And it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel like I'm truly like giving the value that I know, like subconsciously about that topic. Whereas if it's like, oh, wow, that just happened in this experience or this phone call, like this conversation I had with this client, it's like, I need to quickly record that. So I'm trying to be more cognizant and like aware of like, okay, when that happens, don't sit on it and just produce it. I think it's creating content now is better than just being perfect, right? What do they say? Done is better than perfect, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like that.
That's exactly right. And maybe that's why all my brilliance would come when I got to the office parking lot is these were in the days when you drove to an office. So, by the way. And I would probably have the thought from dropping off my daughter at school and I'm driving into work, and that's when our great thoughts come to be. And then I just make myself do it now or I'll forget, because whatever I said to myself in my head, that was awesome. I got to do that again.
Right. I like that. No, so you think videos just seem to be the way that everything is going?
Yeah.
In terms of value and content that you're offering. Or do you find that there's like, you share notes, like from trainings that you go to, you do all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, a way that I continue over time, or how I have grown the group, the closed group, was that, you know, hey, the one time that I got to be in a room with Gary Keller for Quantum Leap, to be a Quantum Leap instructor, you know, I'm going to, instead of say, okay, here's the thing, you guys, I love you all. And when you say, put your email down below and I'll send you this, that either means you're needing to go through all those emails or you have an assistant, and that assistant is probably so annoyed with you. So instead, just point them to a place. So if I say all of my notes are going to be in Your Journey with Jennie, all you have to do is ask to join. Isn't that so much easier?
Do you find though that only gives you one medium of contact with them? So like if they gave you their email, then you can throw them in the viral. And a lot of times then you can look them up. Well, I'm assuming a lot of these people you can look up and find their information online regardless if you want to anyways. But I just think, yeah, just focusing just right there, I feel like you're leaving some information out that might be valuable.
Possibly. And if they're real people who enjoy and want to truly engage with me, then they would be inside of the group. And then inside of the group, I can, get them to subscribe to my newsletter, which then adds their email address. I mean, right. for us inside of our database right now, so we're still with Brivity for now. And inside of our database, we have 1,948 out-of-town agents. So that means we've got most of their name, address, physical address, phone number, and email. And those are the ones that are getting the 2 videos a month from us. The people inside of my groups and on my page are still seeing that content because it's getting posted there. And then, it's just a big funnel, right? We're just trying to capture them all the way in and all the way down. As soon as they become a referral partner, Jordan, you share a referral with them. Well, you're already in our database. If I didn't know you, then there's a whole system of now you're getting added to our database. So for sure, you're going to get 2 videos a month from me and then from us. And then you're going to get updates along the way with our transaction. I'm going to give you a call. The agent's going to give you a call. Like there's all systems inside of ensuring that you're stayed in touch with through it all.
Right. Well, okay. So let's really quickly go there because I think that's equally as important is first off, you said 1948 are in your database and you have 3,200 in your page. So a third of those agents aren't as engaged as the other 2/3. But either way, you got 2,000 agents that you're sending multiple times a month and creating that top of mind awareness. Really quickly on that, are you finding that most of your referrals, because 1948 and then 50 referrals in a year, agent to agent, there's still a lot of room for growth there. Like, are you finding that those referrals are typically repeat agents, so to speak, or is it more of a combination of new people that you meet along the way?
I think it's definitely a combination. We have had some repeat agents, which is awesome. And remember, we're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we're not like the mecca of all travel destinations for families, moving to Tulsa. So a lot of times it's even friends of friends. So this even goes back to my early days of real estate. When I met you at an event, you would get another piece of our marketing touches, a quarterly postcard in the mail to you. And the postcard is very simple. And on one side, it has the state of Oklahoma and it maps out and tells you which locations we serve. And so those postcards would go in the mail. I used to do it even more frequently. I used to do it like every other month. And so that postcard is sitting in your office in Chicago when you went to an office. And then your cubicle neighbor or friend says, I need a referral partner in Tulsa. Who do you guys know? And that's when they would say, oh, this girl, she can help you. And that even would happen. So here's another tip for those watching. Also, when you are at events, do not discount productivity coaches or team leaders to be a part of your database. They know all the agents and they're the ones that get contacted whenever someone needs a referral partner.
Right. Yeah. They're kind of like the main source there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have a ton of questions on that. So did you say you're still doing the monthly postcards?
We're doing it quarterly now.
Quarterly. Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a question. So all the time, any agent in here, and I know most people here are probably KW, maybe not, but if you are KW, it's like there's all these different pages that.
You see my dog?
Oh yeah, he's chilling. It's a rough life for him.
Lake life. Okay, go ahead.
But no, so I always get, right, you get these notifications pop up and it's your friend and let's just say it's you and someone else in one of these pages or these groups is saying, hey, I need a Chicago agent. Who do you know? And it's all these people posting. Hopefully you have a lot of people posting your name. And I'm very grateful now that I do feel like a majority of the time my name is thrown in that mix. But there's always like 3 or 4 other agents that are always kind of referred, right? Or that are recommended. So once that happens, I think it's a time. It's almost like if you think about like a Zillow lead, like if you don't respond to that quickly, like it's gone. Like you don't have that opportunity. So of course you want those people that are just going to call you directly and say, hey, I got a lead for you. But when it's not that, and it's more of just, hey, who do you know? Do you have a system there, or do you have a way that notifies you so that you can jump in there right away and try to get that?
Well, I don't have a way to be notified other than being tagged by our raving fans and friends. So that's where all of this pre-work comes into play, is that then when you see something for Tulsa or the surrounding areas, that I get tagged. And then it is very important, and everyone should pay attention to this. As soon as you see that, of course, comment and say, I'd love to help. But even faster for me is a message, and I'm going to go and find them and call them. Pick up the phone and call. So that urgency, I think a lot of, and here's another thing that while we're on this, I'll get this off my chest. Do not post asking for a referral agent if you don't have time to sit there and receive the information or the posts or to be engaged, because I call it posting and ghosting. There is nothing.
I'm guilty of that. Also guilty.
So don't be like, hey, I need someone in Tulsa, and then you aren't available because you're at an appointment and I'm working to call to be first to show you I'm motivated to help and that our team's here and available. So that is just a tip. Please don't do that. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave a message, send them a private message. I'm going to, if they're Keller Williams, I'm going to go on Kelly and I'm going to add them to my referral network. And that's where you can find their info really fast. Is that, there's my daughter just now getting out of bed.
Oh, wow. I don't know what time it is there in Tulsa. But...
Same as you. I'm same as you. That's awesome. And then, yeah. And now here's another thing, Jordan, that I added in because I was getting referrals and shout outs a lot, is that then we would even send a thank you to the shout out person. We call it a shout out.
That's amazing. Yeah. Because that's the whole nother side of it. It's like, you show love, you get love. Like it's, because I intentionally go into these pages like, and this might be a bad thing, or maybe it's good, I don't know, but like I'll go in and I'll just, every now and then I'll scan through. And I want to be more systemized with it, but I'll scan through these pages of like, when it's not Chicago being recommended, or it's not someone asking for a Chicago agent, but it's like, hey, I see someone that's like, who do you know in Oklahoma? Or who do you know in Boston? Who do you know in these markets that I know I have my preferred person in?
Yeah.
And I'll go just tag their name and say something nice about them, even if it's like 2 days ago, because then they still get that agent, or that the agent that is being recommended, even if it's 2 days late, still knows that you're recommending them, right?
Yeah.
So then I think that creates them to do the same thing to you, and it's like you create this whole like interconnected world of people just got each other's back. So I think that's super critical as well.
Well, this is exactly like your local database. When somebody shares a referral with you, whether it works out or not, you still share love and gratitude with them. That's exactly like someone tagging you in a post or sharing your name along. Yeah.
Right. Sorry, cutting out a little bit there. Okay. Cool. I like that. So we got about 15 minutes here. I want to remind people, we haven't got a lot of questions, but I want to remind people to put some, if you have questions, we're going to do a Q&A in about 10 minutes here, just to make sure you guys are getting your questions answered. But I want to go into, we just talked a lot about the Facebook group and online in general. You talked a little bit about, the Keller Williams events and different things that you do. I also know you travel and speak. Not today, pre-COVID, you came into Chicago and you were on a panel that, we were very happy and loved having you, drop knowledge on all of us there. And I'm sure that's part of it too, right? Not only can you get paid to speak on a certain topic, but you create more people. It's like you saying you're going to bold in different markets. It's essentially the same thing. So how have you incorporated speaking opportunities into this whole dynamic as well?
Well, so I think, and I share this over and over. Let me get not glitchy. Am I good now?
You're good now. Yep.
It's
a lake.
Lake life. It's rough. So I start with all this all the time, always. In order to have a big business and an awesome life, you might
have to rewind the tapes here.
Okay. Are we good?
Yeah. No. Yeah. You cut out again. No, you're good.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. All right. So, in order to, I might always start with this with all things. First, we got to know why we're doing this business and what our personal mission statements are. And so, over time, my personal mission statement, because I'm also a QL for young adults instructor, and in QL, we teach young people how to discover and create a mission statement. And that's where I discovered that that's my passion and my purpose. Here's my mission as it's evolved. It's to empower others through training and coaching to inspire confidence and change through positive mindset and tools which encourage big thinking and action taking. And so now me sharing and adding value is my mission. So when I go and I travel and I teach and I do webinars, I can say yes to them because it fits into what is important to me. And that's where it comes through to you guys, is that I'm doing what I love, because we know that if we're doing things that aren't in our strength zone or something we're passionate about, then we're going to burn out. And I've already burned out. That was a long time ago. Like 2014, I burned out. I hated people and I had to get it figured out as to attaching.
Oh, lost you again.
I know, I'm going slow. I can tell when we are, so I just pause for a minute.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you can tell. So we were talking about burnout in 14 and.
Yeah. And so I already had the burnout, and I came back from that and realized that I have to have passion and purpose attached to my business. So even a part of our team culture that everyone buys into is focused on adding value to our local community, to our business partners here, to our agent friends, and to our youth through training and education. That's just who we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you, really quickly, kind of going in a different direction. I know that's important, but I want to make sure well, I guess it's in the same thread, but it just came into my mind. I want to ask, have you thought about doing these type of groups in your business for other, like in your community? Like,
yeah. It's on the list.
Okay. Got it. It's like, yeah, you also don't want to be like having like 7 different pages that you have to, because being an admin of a page takes some work. Right?
It does. And I actually just posted on this in this group the other day because I'd had a conversation with my coach, because I felt like, remember at the beginning of the one thing, when Gary talks about chasing 2 rabbits at the same time, and I had to get back focused because I was really putting energy and time into thinking about that instead of what's going to be the most dollar productive activity right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a couple minutes. I'm trying to check on the screen here to see if anyone has questions in the actual group.
You're showing off your YP shirt. Let me ask you.
I didn't even realize I was doing that, but yeah. No, I was trying to check the Facebook Live to see if anyone had questions in the thread versus on the actual chat box.
Yeah.
Looks like people are just shouting out their cities, which is cool.
For their referrals. See, there we go.
Yeah. What were you were just getting ready to say something?
Oh, I was just going to ask you back. I mean, now that you've listened in on and learned, what are your action items that are going to be at the top of your list?
First and foremost is figuring out who these people are that I have already. I already have a lot of them. Like, I know where they are. I just need to like put them all in one place. That's first step, so that I can, because I know the raving fans. Like, I know there's probably 100 people, maybe 50, maybe, I don't know, somewhere in that range of people I know that I can go already have their contact information. I just need to like tag them all in my database. So that's step one. But then it's like, how do you grow that? So, well, first off, with those people, I want to define a system. And then that system of contact and staying in touch with them will then be, as I grow it, people will just be put into that system. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like as soon as they get dropped into that bucket, these are the steps that take place. And that might be the postcard, that might be sending them a video, that might be a text video, whatever it is, right? So that's step one for sure. Because I already have a lot of people sending me business through agent to agents. Step two is growing that population. So starting a group. I got to start a group. So figuring out, and I've already had a few ideas of kind of what I want to do. And I need to vet it out, I think, to really figure out what that mission and that value is.
Let me interject on that really quick.
Yeah, yeah.
I have seen agents over time emulate the group thing that I've started. They even will ask me for permission, like I own it or something, and which is great and funny. And the only thing I'll say is that you have to be all in committed to it, because otherwise you won't get the engagement, which is the point. And so you just have to really, like, it's really important, and you're going to do it daily.
Yeah, well, I think that, and it goes back to what you were just talking about before we segued into this, is it is what's the future of Jordan Pyle's business. And I have recognized that I like speaking, I like coaching, I like training, and I'm still doing all this, like I'm still seeking that from other people, right? Like I'm on here now I always have this learning-based mindset, growth mindset, but I want to travel and speak. I eventually want to own a coaching company. So all of this is the foundation, I think, of the years to come in my business to come. So for me, it does make sense. And it's easy to put time there, because really it's just two things. It's my database, which already has a system to it. It's 36 Touch. It's all the other things that I do locally for those people. And now this is like, okay, now let's get really systematized and intentional about this other pillar, and then how that transfers into the grander vision of Pyle Residential and Jordan Pyle. So completely agree. It'll take work and commitment.
So let me add into another layer of that. Everything you said is awesome, and part of my master plan as well. And I realized I was pouring lots of energy into my out-of-town agents. And when I'm now in my local market needing to build a team and build a bench, I had neglected those relationships. So now my in-town agent database is also a part of receiving this content and materials, invitations, and trainings as well, because that could be your future downlines, your future team. They could just be a great agent, because I view it as, if I share how we deliver an amazing customer experience to our clients with you, my local Tulsa agent, and you go deliver a great experience, then our reputation, our profession is heightened, and we are seen in a better light. And so that's a win for me. So that's where I even will fold in the trainings locally, because, and this is another step. We'll see if we ever get to go back to live classes again. I got 6 Personal Perspectives CE certified, continuing education certified. So when I teach it here in town, agents from other companies can come get free CE. So that's a value add to my local market, and they get to learn some of our Keller content. Of course, I don't do it as a recruiting class, but
I got light bulbs popping left and right here. Yeah, because I think that's the other thing is you also now you're present to potential. You have a way to create like a place for you to look for talent. Mm-hmm. So who's engaging on these posts? Who's reaching out and asking questions? Because those are the type of people I want to surround myself with. So now you can say, as you scale and lead with revenue and grow the team, now you start having a little bit of a database for that as well. So yeah, I do think for the right person, it seems like both of us, you definitely, obviously you're already on your way. And for me, I think it does make a ton of sense, because it checks every single box of like what I want to do. It just so happens to be housed in just one location, but it services everything else. So yeah, it's exciting.
So I would say for you to start, if training and coaching is important, how can you fold that into and set a goal for it? I had a goal to become a KWU instructor, because the content's already created for me. I don't have to go create a PowerPoint or a manual. And so by taking Train the Trainer and Train the Trainer, I can never remember, Train the Trainer, Train the Presenter, Advanced. There's 2 classes. You take them, and then you're learning how to become a great presenter. And then you can travel, and that's how I started traveling. And you can ask to be paid or not. And my early days of traveling were definitely for free, or just pay my airfare and hotel. It's just another way to keep building your brand, and you're getting better and better too, right?
Well, that, and then you're also like, even if you get paid or not, it's still an investment into your business, because you're making those connections with new people there, right?
Yeah. So
you can't just always say that. I don't think. Like I think there's a lot of people out there that are like, well, if I get one deal, it pays for it. Like if you do that too often, then you're starting to spend a ton of money that doesn't actually come back, because you're not holding it accountable. But if you're doing, if you figured out like 3 pillars or just 4 buckets, whatever it is, and you're just very focused there, then that investment of time and energy makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think there's a distinction there.
And it also, my team buys into that culture because they know that's what I love to do. So I got out of the way. Now they work with all the buyers and sellers, and me traveling and teaching, we receive referrals. So it's just funding. I'm making it rain. Yeah. Doing what I love, and they allow me to do it because they
love that. And that's my vision too.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Let's answer a couple of these questions.
Yeah.
I'll read the first one. So this is from Ariana. Thank you for putting this in there. So what are your thoughts on using this time to leverage Zoom on building relationships with referral agents in different states and towns?
Yes. Yes. I absolutely. You know what I did? The neatest little tool that I just discovered was Calendly. You guys know what Calendly is? I don't know if you want to type that. I can't really spell. And so it's a website where you pick your calendar, you put in when you're available for appointments. And so a couple weeks ago, I was like, man, now that I'm not traveling all the time, I have this extra afternoon time slots that I could fit in other things. And so I just posted out there, hey, if you're interested in chatting with me, I froze. If you're interested in
going away.
If you're interested in chatting with me, just, go here. Am I frozen still?
No, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, I just put it out there in the world. If you're interested in chatting with me, go to here and pick a 30-minute time slot. And I filled up, a whole afternoons of a whole week. So it doesn't even matter if you think you're smart or have things to add or not. Just say, let's just get together. And now how much more impactful is this face-to-face versus a phone call? So
I'm going to second that because I just recently started using Calendly as well. I used it in the past, but I realized, and you can only use Calendly if you're diligent with your schedule, because when something pops up on your schedule, you got to do it. Like you can't have these time slots and then get lazy and decide to go shopping or something. You're not doing that now, and then someone schedules that time. But yeah, I've just been knowing that this is a direction I want to move in with agent-to-agent referrals. It's like, even if I'm just getting to know somebody better, it's 30 minutes is still worth my time to then create a raving fan in another market. So I've just been having people, I just put my Zoom link in my Calendly. So as soon as someone picks their time slot, and I've been very intentional, like I have 4 time slots in a week that are 30 minutes each, and they can pick one of the 4. If there's nothing there, then it's to the next week, right? And it's just to have a conversation, see if I can add value in any way, and hopefully learn something from them as well. So definitely Zoom, yeah. Do you got a couple more minutes? Yeah,
I see this other one. So what should the first conversation look like when talking with other agents? I mean, it is very simple. It can even be a care call right now. And the call could be like, hey, Jordan, it's Jennie in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Realty. I know that we've connected in the past. I just wanted to check in with you. How are things going in your business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. And something I've done too during this time is, it is a little bit more passive. But I've done video text. I find that people because sometimes you meet someone, but you can't, if it's just their name, you might not know, it might not resonate. So I'm like, hey, it's Jordan Pyle, and I'm using Bomb or whatever it is. And just wanted to check in, see how everything is going. Like, it could be that I have something like this coming up where it's like, hey, here's a link. I'm going to follow up this video message with a link about agent-to-agent referrals. Like, I think this might be of value to you. Feel free to log in at the day and time with the Zoom link.
Love
and
it.
Just giving value, I think, is huge. I have one, it looks like there's one in the Facebook group, page. It's a little bit off of agent-to-agent referrals, but it's from Andrew. He's talking about what percentage of your business is buyers and sellers during the COVID shift. Is it same or different?
We were already in a shifted market before this. And so we already were a seller's market. And so our business is really reflecting that too. So we're typically 50-50. We're a little heavier on buyers right now, like 60-40.
Yeah. And for me, my business has been more buyers. I think it's more my organic network is buying right now.
Your age.
My age. That's what I mean. Yeah, my age. So let's tie this up and make sure that everyone knows how to get a hold of yourself as well as myself.
Yeah.
So again, where can people find you to send you deals, or to just talk to you about different things that might add value to both of you?
I love it. Well, let me go update my Calendly, and I'll have some time slots if anybody wants to chat a little more. And then I'll share that link inside of our page inside of Facebook. Yeah, I mean, my team is awesome. I just want to give them props, and I couldn't do what I love and live in my passion and purpose if I didn't have an amazing, amazing team of agents and admin that totally support all of this and buy into the culture, and everybody's in the right seat of the bus and is rocking their role. So first off, props to my awesome team. And then also, go to Your Journey with Jennie, because in there you're going to find all of my info, and you can find me really everywhere. JennieWolek, just Jennie.
Just Jennie. I love it. Yeah. If you're not in there, you got to be in there. I literally go through all the time and just scroll to see if there's something that sparks my interest, just to watch.
Cool. Well, Jordan, share with everybody how they can reach out to you and help build your agent-to-agent network.
I appreciate that. Well, yeah, first off, I want to say thanks to everyone who tuned in that's actually taken the time to learn and get better today. I think that's the key to everything in business and life, is just having that growth mindset. So for me, until I have a page that I can direct you to, for me right now, it's probably email is probably best. So if you could go to Jordan, Jordan, at Pyle, Pyle, residential.com. So Jordan at pyleresidential.com. Feel free to reach out there. Again, if I can't service the Chicago referral, like that's in a suburb, I can get you in touch with somebody, but downtown Chicago is my stomping grounds.
That's awesome. It's so good chatting with you. I'll send you anything I come up with that systems you might need. How's that?
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing with everyone. This is awesome.
You bet. All right. You guys have a great Friday, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Take care.